at your local election headquarters. It is election day for the Little Rock mayoral runoff. Voters will be choosing between Baker Curris and Frank Scott Jr. to be the capital city's new mayor. We have team coverage this afternoon. We want to begin with Mitch McCoy, who is out live. Jesse Tenor is out live as well. And Mitch, both candidates pushing to get those last-minute votes in before the polls close.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mallory. Good afternoon to you. And they are using whatever it takes and whatever resources it takes to get and secure those last-minute votes. You can see some of the volunteers outside Westside Baptist Church here along 7th Street. You hear the cars honking, and it's the Frank Scott Jr. volunteers out here right now, the campaign volunteers, and it's also the signs across the street, the Baker Curris signs right outside Westside Baptist Church that are trying to get those last-minute voters here at this voting precinct. We caught up with Baker Curris and Frank Scott Jr. this morning. Both candidates, ironically, at the same polling location when we showed up along Woodlawn Avenue. Curris and Scott going up until the last minute, asking for votes.
It's the most important city in the state. It's the center of commerce. It's the center of transportation. It's the center of medical care. It's the center of government.
How do we secure our neighborhoods? How do we engage our youth so we don't lose them to the streets and make certain they reach their full potential?
Frank Scott Jr. tells me if he wins, first thing he'll be doing tomorrow is praying, thanking all his volunteers and voters. Baker Curris tells me if he wins, he'll be calling the city manager saying it's time to get to work. The next mayor will be sworn in on January 1st. Both candidates are concerned about turnout, and runoff elections are historically lower in turnout. And my colleague, KRK political reporter Jesse Tenor, she is tracking voter turnout, and you actually have some of those numbers to show us exactly what's happening inside these precincts, Jesse.
Yeah, exactly, Mitch. Like you said, runoffs are historically low. I'll get to those numbers in just a second, but we do know that this race is really about all who shows up to the polls. When talking to supporters of both sides out here today, a lot of people were saying, well, I already voted for Curris or I already voted for Scott, but they're like, you have to do it again. And so, yeah, it's really all about getting these people out to the polls and seeing up who shows up this second time. As far as polling places goes this time around for the general election, 4 locations, 4 polling places for 4 precincts have changed, and I'm actually at one of those right now at Emmanuel Baptist. And what's ironic about this is that it's now people in 2 precincts can vote here, and one of the precincts went for Curris the last time around, and then the other went for Scott. And so we are hearing from voters for both of those.
Hearing from Jesse Tenor live as she was talking about voter turnout in the early voting election for mayor, the runoff for mayor of Little Rock. We will try to get back to Jesse in just a few minutes. In the meantime, you can follow our team as votes come in. Get the latest election coverage on your phone at KARK.com and on our social media pages.